Alright, so let's talk about Lobo the Mask. Now, unlike the Grifter Mask crossover, this actually kind of works. Like, this one you can see it's not really total. The Lobo Mask crossover is not completely, totally absurd because it works, because the Lobo comics in the 90s were these darkly absurd, over-the-top, bloody comics. And you mix that with the dark humor from The Mask in the Dark Horse universe, then I think you have something, honestly. I think you have something. So, the story is, in a nutshell, Lobo is hired to take out, the Mask after this coalition of destroyed planets discover, hey, this thing called the Great this green-faced monster came in, wrecked all our planets, and now we want you to go in, take him out. Meanwhile, down on Earth, the Mask has bonded itself to a 2-bit hood named Ira. I can't remember his last name, but yeah, Ira, who's this mugger who discovers the Mask in an alleyway just as Lobo is coming to Earth to find him and kick his ass, and hilarity ensues. Seriously, this is a very hysterical comic. I really enjoyed it. I love Lobo, I love the Mask, and to see them together was nothing short of just awesome. Now, the comic is written by John Acurdy and Alan Grant. Most of you guys would know those guys. John Acurdy did a lot of the Dark Horse, Alien, and Predator comics, and Alan Grant has done a lot of Batman, and I think Judge Dredd as well. No, that was Matt Wagner. Why do I keep mixing Alan Grant and Matt Wagner up? It's weird. And they're not even the same. It's not even the same names. It's really weird. The artwork's done by Doug Mankey, which the artwork, of course, by Doug Mankey. It's awesome. This creative team really cut loose, and the reviews clearly show a lot of love. Let me give you a few reviews of this comic. I really enjoyed this book. Satan. I mean, you can't, how can you go farther than that? A triumphant masterpiece of the medium. The creative team behind this book should take a deep bow. Let's see them more work from Mankey, Grant, and Acurdy. From Mankey, Grant, and Acurdy. Well, give credit when credit is due, right? This book will ruin us. From Paul Levitt said, this book will ruin us. I don't think so. Not as funny as our American cousin, but then again, what is? This quote from John Wilkes Booth. That guy's always on point, right? That's a stable guy. There's something terribly wrong with a society that allows a sort of perverse trash to be published. And that quote came from Caligula, who, that's a good head on your shoulders, but I would disagree. Sheesh, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting another intercompany crossover book these days. I'm sick to death of it all. That was said by John Q. Public, and I can tell John Q. Public go fuck himself. I can't think of any quotes. Dan Raspler. I can't blame you there, but that's a good quote. Yeah, the moment I saw this book of the back and saw even before I opened the book, I looked on the back and saw these list of fake quotes, and I literally said to myself, "Oh my God, this is going to be amazing," and it is. Now, like I said earlier with the Grifter Mask crossover, where it feels very absurd, even though it's kind of it's like a fun-absurd, I guess you could say, is the word right there, fun-absurd, kind of like Archie versus Predator. But in here, like I said earlier in this review, the Lobo comics were known to be these darkly funny and bloody comics, very much like The Mask. So it only made sense to put these two characters together. Now, yes, I know there was another Mask DC unit. There were a few with The Mask. Actually, no, it was just Lobo, and technically, Wildstorm at the time was made by DC, so I guess you could count the Grifter comic as a crossover with DC. But the biggest one was the Joker Mask crossover, which I have not read and I do not own, so sadly I can't give my piece on that one. But this was pretty good. Now, like the Grifter Mask crossover, this was a two-parter, but it was given in I guess you could say, prestige format, and it was, it covers the entire story, whereas, 6 pages in, Lobo comes to the back alley and attacks the Mask, and from there, it really becomes a very bloody comic. In fact, they take an intermission in the first issue to more or less beat the shit out, to talk shit, and it just only goes crazier from there, even into the next issue, with just all the insanity. Eventually, throughout the first issue, it's just them kind of trying to outdo one another, and from there, we follow Lobo. Lobo more or less. What was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. Shit. Lobo. At first trying to kill the mask. Sorry for that. For that total brain fart, guys. My brain just went burp down. But yeah, like I was trying to say, in the start of it, it's Lobo trying to kill the mask. But in the second issue, the mask tells him, "Look, I'm trying to find the ultimate bat snitch, who was my original owner." After telling him, "Hey, I'm a mask, and I need your help to find the ultimate bat snitch, who was my original master." And from there, we go on to follow them in the second issue, more or less follow them, killing everything throughout the galaxy, until finally, yes, Lobo puts on the mask, and it is totally fucking glorious. This is a lot of fun. This comic is really hard to find, and I think I only got it for, I want to say $8. This was, again, at the find where I found the Predator comic, as well as the Grifter comic, and as well as the Batman Aliens crossover. So this was a interesting find, to say the least, honestly. This was a comic that was just a lot of fun to read. Like, that's the big thing with this comic, is that it's totally absurd, and if you love Lobo, you love the mask. Because here's the thing, Deadpool today was with what Lobo was back in the 90s and early 2000s. So Lobo was kind of a big, he was the Deadpool before Deadpool, really. Although without the fourth wall breaking, and more or less we just follow, Lobo kind of, was kind of that character, he was that kind of level of popular in this universe. He was this bloody, disgusting character, and it only made sense to put him with another kind of darkly absurd character, in some form, honestly. It only made, logical sense to do something like that. What else was I forgot what I was going to say again, damn it. Again, I'm really sorry, I had another brain fart. I can't really talk more about this comic other than, pick it up. That's all I could say. Just pick this comic up. You will not regret it. This was a ton of fun. If you can find it. From what I understand, it's very hard to find, especially both issues. I just got lucky, honestly. And it does fit. It's not like, again, with the Grifter it's not like with the Grifter mask comic, where it feels cut off by the second issue. This feels like, the two parts. It's a two-part story that feels very self-contained, and it didn't need a third. It didn't need a third issue. It was just held together in a two-parter. But yeah, again, sorry for the blanks I had in this review. I just had two brain farts. How wonderful! But yeah, once again, if you enjoy Lobo or the Mask and want to see him throw down, I totally fucking recommend this comic. But anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.